Deadline episode for us on the Just Baseball Show. It's Tuesday, July 22nd. Jack Aram, as always, we are presented by the fine folks at BetMGM. Stay tuned for the mid-roll because I'm going to bring the juice on this episode's mid-roll ad read. But we were heavily influenced by Passan's article on ESPN.com that released on Monday about the trade likelihood for a lot of the top candidates. So we figured we were due for a deadline episode. We're going to rework it a little bit. So a lot of the names that Passan alluded to in that ESPN article are names that we're going to talk about. Like he mentioned, Eugenio Suarez is the top name available at the deadline. Understandably so. Bob Nightingale said, no player in MLB history has been traded in a season in which they already got to 35 homers. Suarez could very well be the first, but we shall see. We're going to talk about that. We're going to play, instead of the percentage game, the low, medium, high game. So the likelihood game. And we're not going to say the best fits for teams because then we would just be saying, oh, the Cubs would be good, the Tigers would be good, the Phillies would be good. Instead,
I'll shout out a couple unique ones if I think it lines up. I don't even know if I have one. I'm just if it
that's
happens,
fair.
I may be guilty of it, but I'm not going to do the obvious. Yeah, send pitcher to Cubs,
Right.
send third baseman to Yankees thing.
The thing that I want to do with this is what kind of package do you have to put together? And like
Hmm.
for the sake of a team system, that might be beneficial, but it could also be, well, do you need two top five prospects in a system to do this?
Yeah,
Look at contract structure and all that stuff. So that's
yeah.
how I want to attack this. Does that sound
And
good?
yeah, and I love that because like whether it's our Discord or on social or whatever it may be, it seems to be the most common question, which I totally understand. It's like what kind of package does this player potentially command? And like even for us, it's an educated guess too. And I'll usually throw some feelers out to people out there that may know even a little bit better than me, but I think we can give you at least a pretty good barometer of what it's going to look like for some of these players. Where it becomes really tough though is those elite rentals where you have like an all-time rental.
Yeah.
Tanner Scott wasn't an all-time rental, but he was up there in terms of one of the better reliever seasons you saw for a guy being moved. And I think that return shocked everybody in terms of just how substantive it was. So rentals can be a little bit tougher, but we can give you still I think, a decent gauge.
Yeah, I think rentals are fascinating. I also put a guy like JP Sears down, who all of a sudden Rosenthal is reporting that the A's are listening on. Sears has 3.5 years of control left, and he's making the league minimum this year. What's he making next year? 1.5, 2? Like, it fascinates me the structure of some of these guys that are being rumored right now.
Well, and you think about if you're a team that wants to add a pitcher that you see that the price of controllable pitching and say, man, we don't have the prospect capital to do that. You try to get creative, you try to get savvy. A lot of teams might be like, 5 ERA from JP Sears, but 3 years of control, and he's pitching in a place where, I mean, it is really, really hard to keep that ERA down. Historically, he's been in the low fours. I think you look at this year, it's a 4.8 on the road, 5.6 at home. There's going to be teams that give a non-negligible amount of prospect capital to add a player like that. So it is names that we would just never even think about really talking about.
Do you want to start with the best name?
Yes.
Eugenio Suarez of the Arizona Diamondbacks is the best name that is being rumored right now. Now, state of the Diamondbacks, they just swept St. Louis. They're 500. It's interesting. Give me a low, medium, high on Eugenio Suarez not being an Arizona Diamondback by the deadline.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few where we'll probably spend a little bit more time on like the larger team conversation because I honestly wanted to do, if we weren't just doing this theme anyways, like a segment on what do you do if you're the Diamondbacks. And you try not to put too much weight into like each individual game, but I don't think there's a team in Major League Baseball right now where each individual game matters more than the Arizona Diamondbacks over the next week and a half because you have a nice week here, it becomes a lot harder to justify selling because you got to look at the last 2 years. This isn't just the fact that this team has won four in a row and playing some better ball. They have been the not a second half team, the second half team the last 2 years. They've been iffy in the first half, great in the second half the last 2 years. I think you probably like, like you do like rolling admissions in college. Like some schools will like they don't put all of their decisions out at once. Like some kids hear back like a month before, 2 months before, a couple
University
weeks
of
before.
Iowa. I think University of Iowa, you would hear back within 48 hours.
Indiana did like the rolling
Yeah.
admissions thing too. I think. I wonder if that's the approach that you take if you're the Diamondbacks. Like you don't want to fully freeze and then you lose three in a row at the end right before the deadline and like you didn't do anything. And you got to now panic trade five guys that are expiring. like maybe Suarez is the last player that you're holding up until the deadline, but a couple of the more easy to move expiring pieces could go earlier. That, but the thing is Merrill Kelly is so valuable to them right now. You
I
trade
know.
Merrill, you might as well just trade Gino,
And
even
a
though they're two.
Gallen is starting to pitch right.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe you start with Grichuk, right?
Sure.
Just see what you get there, and you
Yeah,
start.
the soft
So
launch into the
yeah,
deadline
like
sale.
ease your way into because
I think about the 21 Chicago Cubs where it was like Jock Peterson on July 4th, and then a couple weeks later it was Baez Rizzo Bryant.
like every game shifts things a little bit. My question to you, I guess, is what is it? What do they need to do for you to think to justify not selling? Because all of a sudden, Gallen's throwing pretty well. If he keeps doing that, Ryan Nelson's throwing fine,
Yeah.
and I mean that rotation isn't good, but it's not so bad that you don't bother trying.
I don't feel comfortable every single time Eduardo Rodriguez toes the rubber for the Arizona
Yes.
Diamondbacks. But he's immovable at that point. So for me, it really depends on record. And I'm looking at the National League wildcard standings right now. Final spot belongs to San Diego, right? So the Cubs and the Brewers are tied atop the division. Whoever finishes second in that division will hold the top wildcard spot. The Mets are a game and a half clear of the final spot. And then you go to San Diego holding that final wildcard spot. Cincinnati's 2.5 back. San Francisco's 2.5 back. St. Louis 3.5 back. Arizona, after winning 4 in a row, enters play on Monday 4.5 back of the final wildcard spot. If they're within 2.5 by the deadline, I'm holding on to everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
I may start a soft launch with guys that are not playing all the time. Also, guys that I feel confident can have their role backfilled. So, like Naylor, I'm moving Naylor because I know Pavin Smith can play first base every day.
Yep.
That's my
Yeah.
kind of thing. But like
Because you're not waving the white flag,
no, you're
but
not waving the white flag by moving a rental and Josh Naylor. I think you're waving the white flag by trading your 35 homer guy that has been a top 5 hitter in Major League Baseball this year, while also moving 2 guys that will start the front 2 games maybe in the postseason for you in Kelly and in Gallen. So it's the big 3 for me in Arizona. I look at Suarez, Kelly, Gallen. I'm waiting until the last day. And I think if you're within 2 or maybe 2.5 of the final wildcard spot, you keep all 3.
yeah, it's funny. So I just Googled a Eugenio Suarez qualifying offer. Like, is he eligible for it? And it's always awesome when our own website actually
Yes.
informs me on that. So I think that he is eligible, right? Suarez
He
for a
has
qualifying
not
offer, I believe.
he signed a 7 for 66 in 2018, but that was to bypass arbitration.
So
Yeah,
I
he would be.
based
This is
on
his
our
first time
article
entering free
too.
agency.
Yeah. So look, that you're not going to recoup the same amount, of course, but at least you know that you're going to get something back even when you retain a Eugenio Suarez. Like
Yeah.
if you couldn't at least do the qualifying offer, get a draft pick back situation, it'd be even more of a push towards
Yeah.
selling. But
Now,
that is the and the D-backs have drafted really well.
they have. Gallen also is eligible for the qualifying offer,
You
and
could
Kelly is
stockpile.
not.
Nailor's not, or
Kelly's
Kelly's not.
not. Naylor might be.
You could get 3 like QO picks like that. Again, that's not nearly
You
what you could
run the
get.
risk of Naylor opting in, although
Yes.
he might be playing too well to opt in.
Yeah. But it's interesting. So I think you got to take it day by day. What's interesting is 3 games against the Astros. You take 2 out of 3 there with the way they're playing ball, then you potentially sweep the Pirates.
Yeah.
And then you've got 3 against the Tigers where you can really think about it, and then an off day to just go nuts and clear it out. So I think it's a coin flip right now to circle back and answer the crux of the question here. I do think it's a coin flip because if this team plays well, you have Corbin Carroll back at superstar ability. Ketel Marte is playing at a superstar level right now. Obviously, Gino Suarez is too. You're going to get Pavin Smith back, as you mentioned. You're going to get Gabriel Moreno back. The problem is this bullpen is not winning you shit.
No.
And you're not going to trade pieces to add to the bullpen unless it's a controllable arm. And even then, I don't know. There's not a lot of teams dangling controllable reliever arms out there, but that would be the only way I think you could justify. If you stay, you may need to go try to find a controllable reliever arm at the same time, which is like we went from standing pat to now selling, quote unquote, but that could be someone that like a Tim Tawa or buying, excuse me, That could be someone that maybe a Tim Tawa or Alec Thomas or whatever can potentially net you.
I would think so. I'm curious if that guy is good enough. What do they need? They probably need two setup guys. Those cost a lot. Like an Alec
Yeah,
Thomas, is he getting you a setup guy? I don't know. You would need to
probably
deplete
not.
the farm a little bit. I would be surprised if they entered buyer mode at any point. My thought
Yeah,
is they're going to ride the offense through the tape and stand pat, or they're going to sell off some pieces.
yeah.
But for the sake of the exercise, give me likelihood that they trade Geno right now on Monday, July 21st, as we talk, and on Tuesday, July 22nd, as people listen to this. Likelihood, low likelihood, medium, or high.
I'm gonna go medium. Um, the other reason why I think it could skew like to high medium, which is a cop out, is that we talked about it a little bit on the show. Like, dude, the third base situation. How many teams can you look at across the league, contenders wise, that are like, hey, they could probably use a third baseman. Hey,
Yeah,
they could probably use a third baseman. I mean, you could upgrade probably 5 or 6 contenders immediately with a
of
Eugenio
course.
Suarez. Well, you could upgrade any team with a player, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
third base specifically, like a slightly above average third baseman would be an upgrade. That's why I think it is going to be a seller's market on the Geno front.
Yeah.
And the offers, like they're going to listen no matter what. The offers may just be too immense to not do it. And the leverage is in their favor.
It's totally in their favor. I'm trying to think about the type of package. And for me, it's a consensus top 100 prospect in baseball and a guy that's either in the back end of the top 100 or just outside the top 100. So I look at like the Yankees, right? Everybody wants to talk about Geno Suarez being a Yankee in 2 weeks. I really don't think this gets done without Lombard.
Then yeah, you can't
He
do
has
it.
35 homers.
I know.
And I
No, you
know people
can't
are going to
do it.
say, oh, you can do it without Lombard. Geno Suarez has 35 home runs right now.
They can't do it then. Like, yeah, that would be malpractice.
I agree with you.
I think if you go like, because I think the D-backs want controllable pitching. If you go Schlitter
And
and like several
and
impactful
five more
pieces,
guys. He has
it's
35 home
I
runs.
know. I'm trying to think of the last time that we've seen a player of this caliber. Well, we haven't. We
It's
haven't.
literally
To your,
never happened. Yeah.
like, I'm thinking about Tanner Scott. So it was a down year, and that's a reliever. You know, he's going to throw 20 innings for you. It was a down year for Robbie Snelling and some of these other guys, and they still got, a borderline top 100 guy and then like 3 back end top 30 types
Yeah.
in a system. I mean, they're not going to move Lombard for rental. So it's like, how can like a Yankees team theoretically, for using that farm as a barometer, make it work? It's got to be Schlitter, and then it's got to be like
Bryce Cunningham,
two, yeah, Cunningham, and then another couple, back end top 30 guys at least. Um,
Lalane or Lagrange, whichever one's pitching really well
yeah,
right now.
Lagrange. I think. I agree. It has to start with a consensus top 100 guy, and I'd say skewing more towards like the top 50, but maybe a strong. That part's subjective. And then, yeah, you probably need 2 more top 15 guys in like an average system
Yeah.
to make it happen.
So it's
I think
either
that's probably the
Lombard and
package.
then in the back, or you fill it with guys in your 4 to 10 range.
Yeah.
So I think Cunningham, Schlitter, Lagrange could get it done, but then there goes your pitching
For
prospect
yeah,
haul.
for yeah, like I mean that's a lot. That's 8 potentially 18 years of pitchers
Yeah.
that you're moving
Of
there. So
starting pitchers, legit
yeah,
starting pitchers that are talented.
like for the exercise, let's say, who's another team that would fit the exercise? Like
The
just,
Cubs,
just the Cubs, right? Like you have to start that deal with an Owen Casey or a Ballesteros, which doesn't really fit for them, but just for the sake of the exercise, it has to start with one of those guys, and
Casey,
then I
and
think
Wiggins.
and Wiggins, and like that's crazy for a rental.
Yeah.
So I that's where I think it's going to be interesting because you have this unprecedented rental, and then you have teams that just it's malpractice to part with that caliber of prospect for a rental. Who's going to be that just aggressive and desperate is going to be the interesting the interesting approach there, because it doesn't seem very Cubs like to do that,
No.
especially when you already did it for one rental. So yeah, I think it's a top 100 guy, and then I think it's 2 top 15 guys in a system.
Somebody's going to get crazy. How about Gallen? Let's stick on Arizona right now. Zac Gallen, low, medium, high, and then what a package would look like.
I think it's funny because I just think if you move one, then they all go, right? So
Yeah.
I think they all have to be medium.
Okay.
They all have to be medium. And then Gallen, he's gonna get what, one more start before this thing is wrapped up.
I think
This
so.
first the deadline is approaching.
Yeah. And Gallen, he just got killed in Anaheim before the break.
Yeah, but he had two great starts before that.
Two really good starts before that.
I mean, I don't think he's commanding anything crazy. But then we saw Lucas Giolito net Edgar Caro.
I know.
So I think one quality prospect, like one fringe top 100 guy, maybe that's even a little bit aggressive, but
So for me, like I'm using the Cubs as a barometer right now because that could be a Gallen fit. I look at like Triantos and Jack Neely. I think that could be the price for him.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, his ERA is almost, it's like a half run better on the road. So you
Yeah.
can maybe lean into that a little bit. But yeah, I think it's something along those lines. It's like a quality, maybe a guy that when he's going right can sneak his way into a top 100 list and then a filler.
Yeah. Triantos can sneak his way into a top 100 list, and Neely is a 6'8" reliever that throws fuzz that is
Yeah.
struggling to find the strike zone right now, but opponents are hitting 170 against him in
Yeah.
AAA. So,
Hmm.
like, that's the kind of guy, and obviously the Diamondbacks want some pitching in return. Kelly, I assume you're also medium on?
Medium, but again, this is a guy that I think is probably going to command more of a return than Gallen. That's why it's hard. If you're the D-backs, like you got to feel really good that you can get to this, get to the postseason here because I mean they could get like 4 or 5 top 100 prospects for all of the pieces that they're moving off. So I think he's getting you a top 100 guy, right? I mean,
Absolutely. I think Kelly is more expensive than Zac Gallen.
I agree because you know what you're getting,
Yeah.
which is huge. You're getting a low to mid threes. I mean, and a guy that I think can go out there and compete. I'm trying to remember the postseason performance, but I'm sure that has been good enough in his career. Uh, I think it's a top 100 guy and and a filler as well. So like a higher end headliner, and then probably a slightly better filler too than what Gallen would get you.
Wow. And then the price, yeah, price is more, but similar to higher likelihood. Okay. Steven Kwan of the Cleveland Guardians is the next guy that I want to talk about. And again, Kwan was highlighted in the Jeff Passan piece. He had the likelihood of him being moved low. It was like 20%, 15%, whatever Passan went with. Does it seem low or does it seem medium at this point?
I think low.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Does this team really need a jolt to the farm system that badly? Is this team that far off from competing? You just extended Tanner Bybee, who I know isn't having his best year, but Gavin Williams is throwing the ball pretty well. Slade Ciccone looks like a savvy pickup for you. Shane Bieber is working back. It may not happen this year, obviously, but I think, and anytime you've got one of the best third basemen ever play the game, I don't see why you would move probably. I think definitely your second best bat with control. I think it's low and like comfortably low. And because of that, the way that they operate, right, they're always going to be willing to listen. But what do we got here? 3 more years of control after this one with Quan?
With Kwan, I think it's 3 more years of control. Yeah.
I mean, I just no, it's actually 2 more after this one.
So Kwan, oh yeah, Kwan is in year one of arbitration. He's making 4.1 this year. So he has 2 more years after this. You would assume he escalates to about seven, and then he escalates to about 11. So you're getting this guy on a 2 year, 20-ish million dollar deal.
This is a team that has struggled to find above average offensive pieces outside of Jose Ramirez and Quan himself, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Carlos Santana's come in and kind of done what you've expected. Manzardo is getting there, but I mean, you look across the rest of the team. I mean, how many deficient hitters do they have in the back half of the lineup?
Yeah.
This would just be, I think, saying, hey, we're kind of punting next year a little bit too. You have Jose Ramirez at 33. I think if you want to move Quan, if next year's disappointing, you do it. But I think it's very low.
Uh,
I wouldn't understand it. And he's going to command a haul that I don't know how many teams are going to be willing to give up for. At the end of the day, really good player, but a contact oriented corner guy.
yeah. And a Gold Glover, but contact
Phenomenal,
oriented corner guy.
phenomenal. And I just think he's more valuable to the Guardians than anybody else that's going to be acquiring him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Table setter, leadoff guy, I understand. Going to a totally different type of hitter, Ryan O'Hearn with the Baltimore Orioles. I'll take the words out of your mouth very, very high. I think it's a lock that this guy is moving. It makes all the sense in the world. I just saw him for 3 right before the All-Star break. Kobe Mayo is sitting on the bench. I saw Mayo get one plate appearance over a weekend. Mayo can DH. Let's get him in the lineup. Have to. Let's get Basayo in the lineup. O'Hearn, thank you. You maximize. He's in his final year of control. He's making $8 million.
Yeah, I mean, our team's going to be a little bit spooked of just the way he's been playing of late, you think?
I don't think so. At the end of the day, he's an all-star, and he's still got an 840 OPS on the year.
Yeah, last 30 games is 727, which
It's fine.
He's not
If that's
striking out a
your rut
ton.
in an all-star year, I think you're fine.
And I don't know how bad it is in a corner, but he's still doing it sometimes. And I think for teams like that, versatility still valuable. I think like that part of it is interesting too. Samuel Basayo has an 1,000 OPS in AAA over his last 30 games. That guy needs to get up too. So I think high as can be, but what kind of return does a player like O'Hearn having a career year on a contract year who's slowed down a bit after a hot start bring in?
Not as much as you would expect. Can you give me a team that jumps out to you with O'Hearn, and I can like put together a little mock thing for you? I don't think it's a top 100 guy going back, and I think it could be a one-for-one swap if the prospect is good enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a team that like fits that bill.
I'm thinking like if Cincinnati is going for it, they could do it. Cincinnati
And,
could be a decent fit for O'Hearn. And I'm thinking if they
and
went,
they even said too, like we're not gonna, which is so annoying. We're not gonna trade pieces from the future to go all in this year. It's like, all right, and just don't bother. Like, but
right,
if they were doing it like for a rental, they could. It doesn't need to be a Sal Stewart. It doesn't need to be Hector Rodriguez. Even I think they could piece together some other options. But that's the other interesting thing is how many teams are lining up for first base slash kind of corner outfield type.
I don't think many.
I don't think a ton. So
Do you think they would entertain like an O'Hearn for Sammy Stafora deal straight up?
yeah, just play the upside type of thing.
Yeah,
That's
like
that's the way
it's a
you're gonna
low A
have to
kid
go
with an
about it.
800 OPS this year.
That's the way you're gonna have to go about it if you're the Orioles, either lower ceiling, close proximity guy, or lotto ticket, higher ceiling, further away guy. And I think that's probably the way they go about it.
I feel like we're being too light on the package, but I also don't because there's minimal defensive value. Yeah, you can play first base, but you're getting a first base DH for half a year.
Yeah, like
So
that, and he has cooled off.
yeah,
So I'm trying to think of other instances where we've seen players like that get moved, but it does help that he's not extremely expensive or anything this year. Because like that did taper down Josh Naylor's value last year, but even then he still got them a little bit.
yeah,
I'd say that and another flyer, something like that. I think it's just two upside, further off guys.
yeah, makes sense. Other DH that we got to talk about. Passon mentioned this guy in his ESPN article, and I found that a little fascinating. He also had the number incredibly high. Marcell Ozuna, thank you for your services. We will see you play elsewhere. Marcell Ozuna had his club option picked up going into 25. He's making $16 million this year. So the team that acquires him will be on the hook for about $6 million, and he hits unrestricted free agency after this year. Fascinating to me. I have no idea what you pay for a guy like Ozuna.
Well, his hip's been nagging him, right? And
Yeah.
this is a performance over the last 40 where I do think you would be spooked.
Yes.
181, 268, 299 slash line over
Huh.
his last 40 games. I, I mean, he needs to get going quick here to help the Braves salvage a return. And I don't know if he's going to do that. I am very curious because he's not cheap either. It's 16 million, so you're on the hook for 7 or so the rest of the season. I don't think he brings in much. I think with the way he's playing this year, he's 34 years old, going to be 35. He's clogging the DH spot. I think it's a shot to take for an offense for a team that needs an offensive spark. But I don't think he's going to command much. He may have last year, but not this year.
Could be a bit of a dump. I think it could be entirely a salary dump, and you get
Yeah,
one complex
lotto
kid.
ticket. Yeah, you'll get a DSL complex kid, whatever it
Yeah.
may be. By the way, did you see he was wearing a shirt that said Ozuna from the Braves?
Yeah, that's really not good to turn that into a joke in a t-shirt.
No, no, I think it was a funny meme at his expense. I don't think it's one of those things that you should be like
Latching
rocking and
onto.
like proud of.
No, you got a DWI, pal. Like, don't
Yeah,
be latching onto that.
I didn't love that, but I'm not going to be the like moral high ground guy here. I don't think that's going to command. I don't think he's going to command a great return. That's just it's. I agree. Salary dump.
Odds he's off though, very high, I think.
I think almost guarantee. I mean, I just someone will take a shot. I mean, if the price is literally nothing, and I'm a team that has a faint heartbeat, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Especially if you can get maybe the Braves to eat it a little bit. I think you could definitely still take a shot. If he gets hot, when he's hot, he's one of the best power hitters in the game.
Yep. All right, we are going to get to a whole bunch of bullpen arms, but before that, I want to tell you about our friends at Ethos Life Insurance, okay? All-Star break. I had about 48 hours in Pittsburgh with my fiance. One of the first things that she said to me was, "You have a lot more gray hair than you did last time I saw you. What if I die? What if I perish?" I want to make sure that she's okay. You know what I mean? So I'm going to trust my friends at Ethos Life Insurance to do just that for me. Ethos is phenomenal, number one. And number two, it makes getting life insurance fast and easy. I might not have much time with how much gray hair I have right now. Protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There's no complicated process. It's 100% online. No medical exam required. Awesome. Just answer a few health questions. You can get a quote in as little as 10 minutes, and you can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. It's good. If I step out, I have no idea what's going to happen. Ethos, trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry. As a March 2025 Business Insider named Ethos the number one no medical exam instant life insurance provider. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage. They have a 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 2,400 reviews. Be like me if you're going gray and protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/justbaseball. That's ethos, ethos.com/justbaseball. Okay, whole bunch of bullpen arms we got to talk about right now. Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians is the first guy that I want to hit on. Clase is throwing the ball well right now. Is he Cy Young vote getter Emmanuel Clase from last year? No, he's not. Did we see nicks in the armor in the postseason last year? Yes, we did. But Clase is, number one, I think, still best reliever in baseball based on what he's done over the last half decade. And Emmanuel Clase comes incredibly cheap. Kwan, he's an everyday player. Clase, a reliever. You can stomach that. And the contract situation on Clase is a dream come true. He's making 4.9 this year. So you inherit about 2 for the remainder of the year. Then you owe him 6.5 next year. And then you've got back-to-back club options at $10 million in 2027 and 2028. If you're getting one of, if not the best reliever in baseball, this is the price point to do it. I feel like Cleveland can ask for a lot with Clase.
This one makes more sense to me because think about what you've been able to do in terms of creating assets and just filling spots. Filling the bullpen hasn't been an issue for you. You're not going to replace an Emmanuel Clase, but you can fill those roles where, I mean, you forget replacing Kwan, you can't even fill that role. And I think there's a case to be made that with the control that Clase has, that you can bring in a more significant haul. The good news is if no one meets your asking price, okay, we'll go into next year and we can just play this game every deadline. We're not competitive. But I think with teams looking at, and I don't know how much the off season or the postseason struggles will spook teams. It wouldn't really spook me necessarily, especially because you're also looking at him as a guy that can help you get there as well as anybody. I mean, this could be that franchise altering haul for you that gets you the position player talent that you need. And that's still just a reliever, right? You still have Hunter Gaddis. You still have Cade Smith. I think Gaddis is still under control. I'm not positive there. Sabrowski's been good when he's healthy. And you just know that they're going to spawn more reliever arms. It's just never been a problem for them. So I would consider it. I don't know if anyone's going to meet a ridiculous asking price because it should be ridiculous. But I mean, you could get multiple top 100 guys. I'm thinking about like what the Dodgers could do, what some of these other teams can do. I mean, if the Dodgers offered Alex Freeland which he's just as one of the pieces. That guy is your starting shortstop tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you could get Jackson Ferris, who's an exciting left-handed arm. You could get some reliever prospects you really like because the Guardians are great at plucking them. Like you could get a really complete package there with guys that could help you next year and then also really jolt that farm system. But I think if you're getting a Freeland and a few other borderline top 100 talents, like it may be hard to say no to that. I think Ferris in that situation would continue to develop really nicely. He's been throwing the ball really well, and then you can look at a few other players there as fascinating options for them.
And here's the thing, man. Like they could also just get a guy like Edgardo Enriquez as a throw-in,
Yes,
like
and then
flame
boom,
throwing. Yeah, flame
and
throwing
help
AAA
maximize
reliever
him.
hits 104. It's like, oh wait, we might have just gotten him back, and Cleveland can roll that dice. But if it starts with Freeland and they can get Ferris, I think they start to really listen on Clase. Where do you feel like the likelihood is? Medium?
Huh. I mean, if they're listening on Quan, I would have said low, but it almost makes me push more towards medium because I just wonder if they just feel like this might be a time to cash in, especially with him just looking human in the postseason. He's been great. He has a 2.86 this year. But let's say he gets hurt or backs up a little bit next year, you might regret it. At the end of the day, he's a reliever. I'd say medium. I think that might be one of the surprising moves that we see because I'd be a lot more emboldened as a team to go crazy on an asking price here because even if he doesn't help you this year, like he hits a wall or whatever it may be, you've got him so cheap for several more years.
Yeah. Other guy that was in that passing article, Cade Smith. Cade Smith has another year on the league minimum. He's got a final pre-arb year in 26, and then he has 3 years of arbitration starting in 27. So 27, 28, 29. I go zero. There's
Yeah.
no chance Cleveland trades him because if you trade Clase, you have an all-star closer in Cade Smith waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I mean, Cade Smith's punching out 13 and a half per nine. I would rather move Class A for a bigger haul and then promote Cade Smith to that more consistent closer role. I agree.
Cade Smith could also get a near identical haul to Clase. Given the
With
price point that he'd be at,
in the control, it wouldn't be far off. I agree.
very
But
simple.
I think you move. It makes sense to move one, not both,
Yeah, and I feel like Clase, given the price point, would be the much more likely outcome.
because you could potentially extend Cade Smith.
Of course. Of course. Let's go to another guy that is getting a little bit more expensive, and that's Jhoan Duran in Minnesota. We're going to talk about two Minnesota relievers here. Jhoan Duran is making 4.1 this year. He's got 2 more years of arbitration left. So he hits the open market ahead of his age 30 season in 2028. So you get him for 2 arbitration years and this year where you owe him about $2 million. It's cheaper than Class A in terms of the asking price, but it's still really freaking high. And I
Mhm.
feel like this is the Dodger fit.
Yeah, and I feel like they should do it. The not the Dodgers, the Twins. Like
Yeah.
they should do it. Duran has dealt with some injuries through his career. I mean, and who hasn't? But in transitioning him into a reliever, he was banged up a lot through the minor leagues, and I think with some of the inconsistency over the last couple of years, he's when he's right, he's one of the nastiest arms in Major League Baseball, and I think optically, yeah, it's tough, and you may have new ownership and all these things, and you want to have that lights out closer with one of the more electric intros, but you can make a similar case to what we made with the Guardians with the Twins. You can say a lot of negative things about the Twins, but they have been able to find relievers.
Yep.
And I know Jax hasn't been perfect, but Griffin Jax, since really the bad start, has been really, really good. Louis Varland looks like he could be a decent reliever in leverage as well. Brock Stewart looks solid. So I think you cash in here because this is a team that just has been consistently disappointing. It needs a shakeup, I think, a little bit. And there's not many other players that you can move that are going to bring in a significant haul. So why not move the guy that throws one inning, every other day or so? Like that's going to be the way you improve a overall underperforming team, especially if you don't want to trade Joe Ryan and you
Right.
don't want to trade Pablo Lopez, who's hurt, and some of these other guys.
Let's knock Ryan out right now, actually. Joe Ryan was also listed in that Jeff Passan article. And Joe Ryan, there's been some smoke about his trade possibilities. It would be maybe the largest deal on the market, I think. I actually think it would be bigger than a Eugenio Suarez at this point.
Yes, it would because you're getting 2.5 years of Joe
of an
Ryan.
all-star and the one of the best fastballs in baseball.
By the way that some of the more hedge fundy teams, and I know the Twins don't do it that way, but I'm like, but the Rays logic and some of the more analytical organizations, this is the spot where you cash in. 2.5 years of control, peak performance. But it seems like the word is that they don't want to, right? At least I know I saw that somewhere. What does Passan have on the probability?
Passan had, let me pull this right back up again. Um, where did
Because
Passan have this?
on one side of it, it's like if you're trading Duran, you might as well potentially see what you can do with Joe Ryan, but maybe you can get enough of Duran with upper minors pieces. Luke Keyshaw is coming back. You have Walker Jenkins finally healthy and playing ball. Maybe you feel like you can put together a little bit more of a competitive offense next year.
Sorry, Ryan wasn't even in Passan's article.
Okay, so it sounds
No.
like just that's probably a no go. If because he's so good right now, I think whoever's going to be taking over the franchise would rather I think have Joe Ryan. Are they selling? What's the deal there too? I have no idea what's going on with that. It's so
I
hard to
think they're
keep up with.
still up for sale.
Yeah, I think it makes. I would rather move Jhoan Duran than Joe Ryan because you could still
Of
be looking at
course.
next year and say we can win a World Series. We can do all the things that we want to do after moving Duran. I think you move Joe Ryan and it's hard to say, hey, we can still make a major push next year.
Yeah. Where you at on Griffin Jax?
I think it's a one or the other thing again. I
So
don't know if I
yeah,
would do
I
both.
agree. And
Because
I don't
if they were further off, I would do both. But again, this is a team that can reshuffle. It's not rebuild, it's just reshuffle
yeah.
and then make a push next year.
And I don't know who they prefer. That's my thing. Like for me, Cade Smith makes a heck of a lot more sense to hold on to than Clase at this point for Cleveland. If you're going to shop one, you shop Clase because of what he has built. I think it makes more sense to shop Duran because he probably nets you a larger
He
return.
does.
He's slightly more expensive and it's the same amount of control. So I think they hold on to Jax, but I could understand it. Like it's more flip floppy to me than the Cleveland situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Jax is on the lower side. I think Duran's on the medium side just because teams are going to be willing to kind of knock the door down a little bit I mean that's a statement acquisition for a GM too.
Yeah.
I got us Jhoan Duran and we made him run in the postseason and like that people are going to remember that, and I think for the Twins though, what kind of haul are you getting there? I think it's got to be upper minors, like legit prospects. We're talking about like the Alex Freeland type of thing. It's got to be those types of guys. Owen Casey type.
Yeah.
It's got to be the upper minor top 100 prospect to start that deal because otherwise, then just trade both. And
Yeah.
I think that's what makes the most sense to me. I'd be targeting those upper minors prospects, maybe some blocked guys that can help you sooner rather than later. It doesn't totally make sense, but like a Harry
Right.
Ford type of prospect as well. Like those guys that are pretty much knocking on the door that can help you.
Right. How about Ryan Helsley? Ryan Helsley is in his last year of team control with St. Louis. Helsley, all of a sudden, it looked like St. Louis was going to go for it, but off a sweep in Arizona, it feels like they could be pivoting elsewhere.
I think they're loving this. I think Heimblum is loving
I
seeing
think
them
they might be
hit a
loving it
wall.
too. I think he's okay with this. And Ryan Helsley, I feel like the likelihood is now high for him
Uh-huh.
being moved. And I think he's going to be one of the more expensive rentals on the market. I think that they can immediately plug and play in upper minors guy if they move a closer.
Well, they do go to Colorado for 3 games. So if you sweep those, all of a sudden you're a game and a half out or whatever it may be.
Right.
That's the part that's tough. You go to Colorado, then you go to San Diego for 4, and you got the deadline. I, if they're 3, 2.5, 3.5 out, what do you do if you're them? They're currently
Prob-
3.5.
you probably do nothing, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a QO candidate. I I think medium. I think medium. If you drop 2 out of 3 to the Rockies, I think that might really ignite the fire.
Or if you get swept by San Diego, like
Or if you
you can move Helsley in the last 20 minutes.
Helsley's going to be moved in the last 24,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go 50-50, so medium.
Okay. I'm going to go 65-35, and I think that's high. It's like
What kind
medium
of
or
haul?
plus. I think
What
that's
kind
high.
of haul for? I know you probably go high on the higher end of the spectrum than I do with like what kind of haul he can bring in.
Ryan Helsley, for me, is maybe the most underrated closer in baseball because what he has done in terms of a consistent output has been near unbelievable for a closer. This guy, over his last 4 years, a 1.25 ERA, he was amazing. He finished, what, 12th in Cy Young voting? And then 33 appearances at a 2.45. He was hurt, and he still had a 2.4. 24, last year led the National League in saves. In 66 and a 30 at a 2.04 ERA. And this year in 34 innings, he's got a 3.18. Over his last four, his highest ERA has been a 3.1. Relievers
It does
don't
happen to be this
come that
year.
consistent.
No, I know. I mean, he's getting them a top 100 caliber talent, I think, in the back end.
Of course.
So,
And I
and that's
wonder
where they
what
might
they
feel.
would want.
Yeah, yeah. So I think medium.
Okay. Jarren Duran of the Boston Red Sox.
I, who the fuck knows, dude? But I will say, for all of the disarray that the Red Sox appeared to be in, for an organization that was falling apart from within, seemed to be all right.
It's crazy what
Just
happens when you got a ton of talent on the roster.
yeah, and maybe some of those moves didn't suck. Uh,
The Devers one, I'm really coming around on. It seems
yeah,
like Devers might
dude,
have been a
it's
net
like
positive getting him out of there.
it's aging like fine wine. I I don't know because look, you're watching Roman Anthony blossom into a star right now.
Yeah.
He's playing right field, left field now. He's not DHing nearly as much. But shit, if he has to DH every 3 games right now, so be it. I where are you at?
If it's not the Padres, zero. I think it's one and done. I think Craig Breslow is answering Preller's phone calls for the sole purpose of talking about his revised Jarren Duran offers. And if he doesn't like it, then he's not going anywhere.
Is it Leo DeVries today? No. Okay. Is it Leo
Call me in a
DeVries
week.
today? No.
Call me when it's Leo DeVries. And if Preller
Yeah.
doesn't call again, then okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, there's this complex deal that, I mean, the Red Sox are playing such good ball right now that maybe there's a complex deal where an arm goes the other way from the bullpen or from, the rotation.
You know what
And
could interest me? A swap where you go Duran and then San Diego ships him Arise and like four others.
like prospects
Pitching
or,
prospects. Yeah,
yeah.
prospects.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I mean, that could, like, where does Arise fit in? I guess he's playing some first base instead of Toro or just kind of have him in this like versatile role.
Yeah.
And I mean, they could just take on that money. You just have you'd have a ton of depth there. Could work. I wonder like what would they want to address? Because now it sounds like they're going to be buyers to a degree, which means Chapman staying. You're maybe adding to the bullpen. That's where maybe you can get David Morgan or whoever that then plugs into that bullpen immediately for you, and then some other prospect pieces. I'm fascinated by that, but Duran in general, I, I just I feel like you don't want to just trade him just to trade him. Oh,
No,
we have too many of these, so we're going to move him. Yeah, that's the challenge there. And as it's shaking out right now, I think they're in an okay spot, right? I mean, it's not like Christian Campbell's knocking the door down. That guy's finishing the year in AAA, so that part's sorted out a little bit. I mean, you've got young hitters here too. That Marcell Meyer could hit a little bit of a wall. Who knows what happens with Roman Anthony if you make the postseason? I think you need a vet bat if you're trying to move it here. And this could be a trade you make in the offseason with the control that Duran has. I say low. I think low, which
I
is funny
say
because he's like the most talked about trade rumors for a player that's probably not going to get traded.
right. I say low to Padres and zero to everybody else. Like
Hmm.
I think it's at 5-10%.
Yeah. I don't even know who else would pull that off.
No. Seth Lugo, the Kansas City Royals. I will say Passan included Bubic in his article, and he had Bubic at 15%. I have it at zero.
Zero.
He's an all-star with several years of
Yeah.
control left. Seth Lugo for me is a more interesting topic.
Yeah. I think high. I think high. You've got to be honest with yourself as an organization here. And it's not like I mean, Lugo's your guy, but I mean, you can still, for the most part, try to piece it together and move forward. But I think once Reagan's was pretty much out for the year, and once the offense just never really showed any signs of life even
That's a
after the.
hard offense to watch. And I will say I like
Oh,
watching Michael Garcia play baseball. Like it's fun to watch him play defensively, but that offense outside of Bobby Witt is next to nothing.
it's bad. It's
Bad.
legit bad. So I think you have to be honest with yourself. You're just not going to fix this situation, and it's not like they have one of the strongest farm systems in baseball. I think it's high, and you take that and run. You're going to get a haul for him.
Making 15 this year, so you inherit about six, and he's got a player option at 15 for next year. I bet he declines that.
He's going to
Yeah.
decline that. So you're getting him for just a rental at the end of the day. But I still think a rental Lugo is going to get you a top 100 guy and probably another solid prospect.
Seems like it. Mitch Keller of the Pittsburgh Pirates is the only Pirate that I want to talk about. I think Fulter would be sexy for like a Detroit team, but Keller seems like the big ticket guy. Keller right now is making about 15.4. He escalates to 16.9 next year, 18.4 in 27, and 20.4 in 28. That's a lot of money for a Mitch Keller, and I understand that he's been throwing the ball decently well this year, and he is kind of a tried and true innings eater. So far this year, 20 starts, 119 innings at a 3.5 ERA. This has been Keller's best year, but he is notably one of the best pitchers in baseball in the first half, one of the worst pitchers in baseball in the second half. He has fallen off a cliff each of the last 2 years, and we'll see if it happens for a third year in a row. It's really interesting to me.
I This is another one of those exercises where I do feel like it might be doing it just to do it. Where unless you're getting a pretty significant haul, I don't know if it makes all the sense because yes, you've got all these pitching prospects and stuff like that, but you're still waiting to see what they can do. And I mean, you have Jared Jones hurt. Bubba Chandler is hopefully going to get up soon, but you still want to fully see what he can do at the big league level. He has maybe at least demonstrated some more command challenges than I think we were expecting, even
Yep.
though he should still be up at the big league level. Does it really make sense to do it unless you get a pretty significant haul for a guy that does eat innings? Like you need, especially when you're tapering and managing innings of all of your top prospects. Pretty good to have a guy there that's going to be able to eat them, and someone has to throw the rest of the year. If you're going to trade Falter, you're going to trade Heaney. Who else is going to throw the rest of the year?
I mean, you could have Harrington throw. You could
Harrington,
have, yeah, there are a couple of
Harrington, and
guys.
Bubba.
And Bubba. Bubba could come up. I just look at this situation for Pittsburgh, and I think they're having internal conversations. How far away truly are we? And if the answer is we're not competing in the Skeens window, then you trade Keller for the sake of getting out of $15 million next
Yeah,
year and the year after
you
and
can
20.
invest that into the offense. Well, and that's the thing. We're talking about the freaking Pirates here, a team that, okay, they need to allocate more funds to offense. That's probably the way to do it. So that's
And,
actually what great
and they
point
can
pushes me more
survive
towards
without
medium.
Keller.
Yeah, they could survive without Keller and then allocate those funds to signing any position player that's semi-competent.
So
So
I bet honestly the return is pretty light, but for the sake of getting that money off the books to go pursue other avenues to spend that money, I think they could do it. So I put it at medium.
And I think you'd be surprised. I think it'll be a okay to pretty good return because at the end of the day, the qualifying offer is $20 million for, yeah, and we're seeing pitchers still accept those at points. And he's if he's a 4.21 for you at 195 innings, a lot of teams are going to pay
Of course.
$18 million for that. So I think it's a decent return. It may not have that clear headliner, but it'll be got kind of that three solid prospects return, and they take on the contract. And I'm going to go medium. You sold me on it though because Bob Nutting's going to say, "Well, that's 15 million I can spend now."
Yeah. Okay. Two more Pirates real quick. Uh, David Bednar, the closer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Bednar, the contract situation as it stands right now, 5.9 this year. He's got one more year in control after this. I think it makes all the sense in the world to move Bednar. He's as good as gone to me.
I mean, he's you didn't even know if you were going to be able to get another opportunity to move him, right? After how bad he looked at the start of the year, the ups and downs the last couple of seasons. He has an 18 consecutive appearance scoreless streak.
Right.
Get out. Get out now. Get that haul. That high and I think they get a good return.
Cool. He Brian Hayes. You think they move him?
Low. Who's taking that contract on?
The Yankees?
Why? I
because they strike out on Geno Suarez and they are reluctant to move Lombard. At the end of the day, you get a Gold Glove caliber third baseman making 7 this year, 7 next year, 7 the year after, 8 the next 2 years, and a club at 12 ahead of his age 33 season. He's making no more than $8 million, and it's your choice to pay him 12 in his age 33 season in 2030.
You think medium?
I think it's medium.
It's just if he's a 580 OPS moving forward, I'm still pissed that I have to cut an $8 million check.
100%. 1,000% I agree with you. But there are teams out there that are plenty stubborn that say, we can fix him.
Yeah. I'll go. I still lean low. I
Okay.
lean low.
I go medium. And this is more money that they can free up towards
Yes.
offensive upside.
Yeah, I mean, they'll take no return. I think they'll just take a salary dump.
Another third baseman, Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies. Where are you at?
They don't trade anybody.
I know.
So
What are they going to do? Like, they're going to move Jake Bird and that's it?
maybe they'll extend him. I, what's the probability? Did you get the passing probability on that one?
Let me pull this up here. Ryan
Because
McMahon. Let's see. He's
also the same story, though. This guy's striking out 32% of the time with half his games at Coors.
McMahon's at 40%.
Who's taking on Ryan? I mean, we did say the third base market is so bad, you do have to take a shot. But you have to pay Ryan McMahon $16 million in 2026 and $16 million in 2027. Other teams are going to say, we want you to pay that down. And I'd imagine that the Monforts probably don't want to pay down a contract ever again after the Arenado situation.
No chance.
I say low.
Okay, I say medium, and the only team that I think it makes some sense for is Seattle.
Yeah.
Like Ryan McMahon over Ben Williamson makes a lot of sense.
They might just say we have that at home for cheaper.
God, you really think he's Ben Williamson?
He's striking out 32% of the time at Coors Field.
Yeah, that's bad.
With a 710 OPS.
That's really bad.
Let me see the home road split real quick. Oh, he's hitting 189 on the road.
Damn it. Okay.
With a 37% K rate.
All right, I go low. Immovable for Ryan McMahon. You convinced me. Four more guys real quick. Pitchers that I find fascinating conversations. I think it's really low for all of them, but these were just kind of wild cards that I saw recently. Taj Bradley of the Tampa Bay Rays. Taj has been a project for a while. It still feels like he's a project. And the Rays have a surplus of starting pitchers. It seems like Bradley could be the one on the move when I thought it was just a slam dunk that Zach Littell was gone and that would be that.
Yeah.
Not the case anymore. I think a lot of teams would be lining up to call about Taj Bradley.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, obviously it's low, but the Rays are the Rays, and it's not like you would go backwards by moving him. No. I mean, you could argue that getting consistent innings to a Joe Boyle or some of the other guys could be just as intriguing.
Am I going to say it or are you going to say it? I thought he'd be way further along by now.
Yeah, I did. Well, because you get those starts, though. You get the tantalizing starts. But I do think that the Rays probably look at it and say, yes, he's still just 24 years old, but it's still that fastball reliant. The rest of the secondaries are all okay, and when he's on, he can be dominant, but when he's not, he gets knocked around. They might just say there might not be much more to squeeze out here, and this might just be who he is. I agree. I thought he'd be further along by now too. I think they could get a nice haul for him in true Rays fashion, and they're not fully selling because they could still sell and buy at the same time. They could feel more comfortable moving some other prospects to go get other things that they may need.
Yep. And then 3 A's pitchers to tie a bow on this episode. Luis Severino is making $20 million this year, 25 next year, and a player option at $22 million the year after that. So it was 3 for 67. Sevy is throwing the ball pretty darn well with the A's. He interests me from a big market perspective.
I mean, not that the A's ever care about optics, but how does it look to sign a guy to like the biggest contract ever in franchise history and then move him within the first year of that contract?
But he's also thrown you under the bus.
Yeah, was that like was there validity to that? Like, did we see that on record anywhere, or was that just a Nightingale? This is what I'm hearing thing. Here's the other side of it though too that you could hide behind, and that's not even hide behind. I think just lean into. He's a 6.68 ERA at home and a 3.10 on the road.
Yeah.
You can just throw your hands up and say he's just not a candidate to work here.
It's funny.
And
It's funny, like saying a guy has a 5.1 ERA is throwing the ball pretty darn well, but that's what he's doing away from Sacramento.
3.10 away from Sacramento, which is like what he was last year. I I think medium because of that. For his sake, he probably did throw them under the bus. I mean, you're pitching in a minor league stadium that you also get shelled in, but
Yeah.
then you're great everywhere else. I'd be pretty pissed too, but also you knew what you signed up for, dude. So I think medium.
Okay. I go medium to high, and I think there are a
Ooh.
lot of really good fits here. I think Detroit is a really good fit, and I think Chicago is a really good fit.
Yeah, I mean, whoever else was in on him, you pretty much can just get right back in, and you didn't have to pay for the first half of this year. So
Exactly. And I don't know how much he's going to cost because at the end of the day, he's already on the other side of 30 and he's making a lot of money. So, like,
yep.
if the Cubs were to go pursue that, I'm thinking it's honestly similar to what it would cost, like, a Merrill Kelly.
Well, and you are a hostage of a player option there too, where like if he sucks in 26, now you're on the hook for another 22 million in 27 from the player option. I would hate acquiring those because it's like he has hedge of the
Yes. Yeah.
downside, you don't. The
Right.
downside that gets compounded by the player option. So if he
Yeah.
throws well, you lose that extra year of control. If he throws poorly, you're hostage. So I don't think the return would be significant, and I am sure the A's would love to move off that money, even though they committed to spending it.
Yeah. How about JP Sears, left-hander? Final year of pre-arb. He's got 3 years of arbitration in front of him. Rosenthal reported that the A's are listening on JP Sears. That intrigued me a hell of a lot more than Jeffrey Springs. Sears' numbers on the year are not very good. 9 starts at home at a 5.6, 11 starts on the road at a 4.8. But Sears, the talent is clearly there. I think there are plenty of middle market teams that would like to take on that project of JP Sears.
Yeah, yeah. Who throws for them next year? Like who is their pitcher then? Like that's my only thing.
They attack the free agent market again.
Yeah.
I could see it being a rinse and repeat
Well,
thing
no
for
one's
them.
gonna want to sign there.
I know. I know.
So I think low because you're gonna need to be overwhelmed, and who's gonna overwhelm for a pitcher with those numbers at the end of the day? I
Not
think it's
many,
more likely that they move a Springs.
probably. Okay. I was ready to say medium, but I'll go low. But I like the idea of a team acquiring Sears.
I do too. Especially if you put him in a Comerica or somewhere where then he can pitch to contact more confidently.
Yeah.
I definitely think that makes sense. I just how much are you going to give up for JP Sears at the end of the day? Enough to pry him away from a team who may need him more than anybody?
Yeah. You're right.
That yeah.
He's probably a guy that you just ride out. And then the last one, his name started to circulate again on Sunday and Monday. Mason Miller. I view it as 5%, like zero, but it's clear they've got a really exciting offense, but they're still incredibly far off.
I think you trade all those other guys to not trade Mason Miller. But what do you have? You have 3 more years
You have three
after
more
this one?
years of Mason Miller, and if you can get 2 or 3 big league ready starters, hell, maybe one big league starter already.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get something to crazy,
You're
yeah.
asking for pitching in return for Mason Miller. It's not like you're asking for more bats.
No. I think very low, but you can't rule it out. I just also think he's been slightly more burned by the long ball this year because of where he's pitching. So I don't think teams are going to care too much about that.
Yeah.
I think low, it would be tough optically. Again, I don't think they really care. I still lean towards low. I don't think you need to force that one unless someone just blows you away.
So if the Dodgers came calling, we're doing this to wrap. I promise, like this is the only time I'm going to make you put on your tinfoil hat. If the Dodgers came calling for Mason Miller and they said, we're going to give you Emmett Sheehan, Jackson Ferris, and Quintero. What do you say?
Deal. I think I say
And that's
deal.
not unrealistic for the Dodgers to do.
Yeah, I think I say deal. Just because the injury history, he's a reliever at the end of the day on a team that's far off. I think I'd be skewing towards deal there. It'd
And
be
that's
hard to
one that I
pass on
feel
that.
like neither fan base is pissed about because it's not like you're losing a DePaul or Hope. We just got that done without that.
Sheehan's probably your best starter. Like that guy, people forget how good this dude is when he's healthy, and he's already starting to show it. Ferris is right there with Gage Jump as your best pitching prospect, and Jamie Arnold now too. And then you get a good,
Quintero becomes your best position player prospect at this point, far and away.
yeah, with Kurtz graduated, yeah, no doubt. That's it's tough to beat.
Okay.
I like it. Yeah,
All right. That's our episode. We got everybody done in an hour. So trade
nice.
likelihood episode done. No episode tomorrow. Episode on Thursday. Yes.
Yes, and we have the final winding down of our charity auction. As I've mentioned, Ellie, my wonderful girlfriend, painted these incredible canvases. You may have seen them on social. The proceeds go to each player's charity of choice or their personal foundation, and the link is in the episode description. They're just frankly, like candidly, going for way less than they should, given that they're autographed and JSA authenticated. We would love to, raise a little bit more money for each of those players' individual charities. And I know Ellie put 40 plus hours into each of the canvases. So would love for you guys to check those out, and hopefully something that we'll continue to do moving forward. That links in the episode description. We're also going to have Griffin Conine on at the end of the week, Marlins outfielder, of course, that we'll get a little bit of an update. He's throwing today, so
Yeah.
that's exciting. So we'll get a little bit of an update on how he's feeling, talk a little bit about the Marlins, but also we're just going to talk ball. I think it's going to turn into guys naming dudes.
And two
So
fun
that'll be really
announcements
fun.
too. Yeah, guys naming
Yeah.
dudes and two fun announcements with Griff.
Yeah, we're going to be doing something cool down here very soon around the Topps Chrome release. So stay tuned for that as well. And then he's going to be doing an Ask Me Anything in the Discord as well. So if you join the Discord, get an opportunity to just talk some ball with him. And we're going to be doing that with more players moving forward as well. That link, of course, is in the episode description as well.
Media man Griffin Conine, and we will talk to you on Thursday.